Tonight on Reporting Scotland, Inverness Caledonian Thistle are on the brink of administration. The club says they're trying to find new investors or owners, and they've also scrapped controversial plans to move their training facilities to Fife.
I'm quite confident some business will come through and support them.
The timing's so wrong when they're looking to people to purchase season tickets, and I'm in a bit of a quandary myself.
Also on tonight's programme, Scotland's top law officer calls for an 87-year-old rule to be dropped, which could allow more rape allegations to reach court. The fallout from last night's televised leaders' debate sparks a row on taxation plans. We hear from politicians as they push on the election campaign trail.
They just couldn't stop. You had to carry on, and that's what they did.
And as events are held to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day, we speak to Jim Glennie from Aberdeenshire, who was just 18 when he reached the beaches of Normandy.
And coming up in the sport, David Gray has been offered the position of head coach at Hibs. And after his maiden PGA Tour win, Bob McIntyre has big ambitions.
Look, I want to be one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. It's not easy, it's difficult.
Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Wednesday's programme. There are fears for the future of Inverness Caledonian Thistle Football Club tonight as it stands on the brink of administration. It comes 2 days after the chairman resigned following a backlash against his plans to move the club's training base to Fife. That decision has now been reversed, but the club issued a statement this afternoon saying they were now making preparations in case they don't find new investment. Well, our reporter Ian McInnes is outside the Caledonian Stadium for us tonight. Ian, this is deeply worrying news, presumably for the club, for the fans and for the city.
Laura, there's been relative silence from the boardroom of Inverness Caledonian Thistle since their relegation just around 2.5 weeks ago now, save obviously for that statement about the move of their first team training to Kelty in Fife. Now today we got a statement from the board of directors confirming that move to Fife was now not going to go ahead, but more worryingly for the club, for its supporters, for its players and fans, and for the city, there are now real questions about its future, with concerns very much around the finances of the club. It was heartbreak in the Highlands as Hamilton beat Inverness Caledonian Thistle in the playoffs. That was just over 2 weeks ago, relegating the club to League One. But it also marked the start of a spiral of uncertainty. The club announced first team training would move 136 miles to Kelty in Fife, prompting outrage at a meeting of fans. Today though, confirmation from the club that was off, but worrying words on the club's finances.
Fans will be ecstatic about not going to Kelty, there's absolutely no doubt about that. Feelings will be more mixed about the possibility of administration. That came through at the supporters meeting last week. Some were very much in favour of it, others were very much against it, and I think that mixed feeling will continue.
Holding us back, and that needs to change really quick.
Fans are clearly worried about what administration could mean for the club.
It's the worst of the worst. I mean, it's one of those things you pray never happens to your football club, but you know, we are very close to it. And I think the hope right now is that there's some investors out there. Hopefully this might be a chance to try and get them back involved, if they wish. David
Witherspoon played for the club until January.
I'm hoping, I'm praying for good news coming this week. Particularly for all the people that are involved, that play there, that sort of work there, and their families, because I know what it's like personally to not have work at the moment.
On the streets of Inverness this afternoon, though, a feeling of hope.
Well, I'm sure they'll find investment. I mean, there's a strong body of support for Cali Thistle, and I'm quite confident some business will come through and support them.
Just the whole thing's very disappointing. I've been a season ticket holder since inception of the club, and I just really think the timing's so wrong when they're looking to people to purchase season tickets, and I'm in a bit of a quandary myself.
Well, I hope they do get the investment because it's really good for our community, for our town. Inverness needs it.
Those big deals that we've chased have come not just at a financial cost, but at the cost of the club's kind of reputation and relationship with the city overall and the communities that are part of it. And if there's one thing I hope can come from change, it's that we can get back to being a kind of community-led club, which is how we should be.
Well, Laura, tonight there are more questions than answers about the future of the club here. Obviously, we understand that the chairman, Ross Morrison, has resigned, although that hasn't been confirmed by the club. And there are also questions tonight about the club's chief executive, Scott Gardner. We should also reflect on the successes this club has had since it was formed just around 30 years ago this year. We obviously saw the Scottish Cup coming here to the Highlands in 2015, and who can forget Super Cali going ballistic. But there are now really very real questions about the future of the club. The hope is that there's somebody out there, possibly somebody in the city itself, who can come in and secure the future of the club for the fans, for the players and for the city.
Yeah, indeed. OK, thank you very much, Ian McInnes in Inverness. Judges are being asked to overturn an 87-year-old rule in a move which could allow more rape allegations to reach court. Scotland's top law officer is seeking the change after 2 sexual offence trials last year ended in acquittals. The ruling dates back to a case which took place in Glasgow in 1936. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
The might of Glasgow's police force is in the annual church parade to the cathedral. 2,000 men under their commander, Chief Constable Silito.
The police force which paraded through Glasgow in 1936 dealt with a case which has influenced Scots law for decades. In this tenement close, a woman had been indecently assaulted. She said a man called Henry Morton was responsible. Henry Morton went on trial here at Glasgow's Old Sheriff Court. He was found guilty, but the woman was the only person who identified him as her attacker. And a year later, the conviction was quashed on appeal. The Morton appeal in the 1930s set limits on what can be done with evidence in sexual offence cases. They've been in place ever since. Fast forward to 2024. Scotland's top law officer has spoken often of her desire to improve the system for victims.
We need to resolve these issues in and around sexual crime. They have a profound impact on the victims. They ruin lives. We've got to do something about it. We've got to have a better system. At the heart of today's argument was corroboration, a unique cornerstone of Scots law.
Basically what it means is you need 2 independent pieces of evidence for all of the essential facts of the case. So historically that's meant that you couldn't be convicted on the evidence of a single witness, no matter how honest or plausible or credible they might seem.
The Lord Advocate wants to overturn the ruling from the 1930s because it was heard by 7 judges. The High Court witnessed the historic sight of 9 judges filing out to hear the arguments.
And it's strongly in the interests of justice and the public interest that if the law is taking a wrong turn, then that is a matter of profound importance that requires to be remedied.
She wants statements made by an alleged victim shortly after an alleged offence to be used to corroborate evidence that the crime took place and the accused was responsible. At present, such statements are generally regarded as hearsay and inadmissible.
I think it would be a very significant change. This would effectively be the end of corroboration as we've known it for almost 100 years in Scotland. That is a huge intervention in the justice system. It would mean that we could rely on the evidence of really a single witness, potentially to corroborate far more than they can currently do under the current law.
Senior defence lawyers agree changes are required, but they say the Lord Advocate wants to go too far. If she wins, it would mean more rape cases would reach court, but juries will still have to decide if they've been proved beyond reasonable doubt. The 9 judges will issue their decision at a later date. David Cowan reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
The TV leaders' debate last night continues to dominate discussion on the general election campaign trail, with an argument raging about Labour's tax plans. The Prime Minister claimed a Labour government would mean higher taxes of £2,000 for working families, but the party has hit back, accusing Rishi Sunak of lying. Our political correspondent David Henderson has more.
It was the first head-to-head TV debate between the two candidates for Prime Minister, and we soon learned the gloves are off in this election battle. Amid all the claims and counterclaims, this one from Rishi Sunak stood out.
There are £2,000 worth of tax rises coming for every working family in this country.
Later in the debate, Keir Starmer dismissed that claim.
This £2,000 he keeps saying it's going to cost is absolute garbage. We won't go into the details of it.
In Glasgow today, his Shadow Chancellor didn't hold back.
Keir Starmer was really clear last night that what the Prime Minister said was utter garbage. I would go further than that. The Prime Minister lied in the debate last night about Labour's tax plans. Labour will not be increasing taxes on working people.
Out on the stump today, the leader of the Scottish Tories made clear he was backing Rishi Sunak.
Is Rishi Sunak lying? No. The Prime Minister is making it very obvious to people that under Labour, taxes will go up. And the biggest telling point that that is correct is Keir Starmer couldn't and wouldn't refute it.
These tax claims are controversial, in part because many tax rates are set here at Holyrood and not at Westminster. But it's Rishi Sunak's claim that independent civil servants had assessed Labour policies and come up with this £2,000 figure, which has provoked the biggest backlash. The Treasury's most senior civil servant has warned they are not official costings. But as the Conservatives and Labour vie to rule out raising tax, some of their opponents are keen to paint a different picture.
I think the big problem is that the SNP's progressive taxation is mitigating against the austerity that has been introduced by successive UK governments, and Labour and the Tories are not diverging all that much from the original Tory budget. The Institute for Fiscal Studies is very clear that both parties are proposing stinging cuts.
We would certainly raise taxes on social media giants to pay for the harm they're doing in terms of mental health, but we'd also reverse the cut to the taxes on big banks, £4 billion worth that Rishi Sunak gave to his mates in the banking sector. We don't think that it's right that they should be enjoying tax breaks when we need to upgrade our sewage network, when people are feeling the pinch of the cost of living emergency.
Decisions on tax and spending are key to what any government does, and all parties want to make their priorities clear. So you've not heard the last of this in the election campaign. David Henderson reporting Scotland.
Meanwhile, Alpa Party leader Alex Salmond has confirmed he won't be standing in the upcoming general election. Instead, he'll stand in the 2026 Holyrood election in the Banff and Buchan coastal seat. Alpa is aiming to stand in 20 seats next month. Mr Salmond denied that his party would split the independence vote and said they would mobilise independence voters.
The Scottish Parliament is the priority for Alpa, and this election for us is to demonstrate the support and articulate the argument for getting a ballot box mandate for independence through an election.
A 9-year-old boy who died in Lesmahago in Lanarkshire has been named by police. Jordan Moore died in a wooded area near Abbey Green Road at 10 to 7 on Sunday evening. Police say there are no suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. In a statement, his family described him as a loving, caring, happy, handsome wee boy. Tomorrow will mark 80 years since the D-Day landings, a moment which changed the course of the Second World War. This young soldier, 18-year-old Jim Glennie from Aberdeenshire, was there that day as Allied troops began landing on the beaches of northern France in the largest air and sea invasion in history. Jim is now 98, one of the last surviving veterans. He puts his survival down to sheer luck. He's been speaking to our reporter, Ben Phillip.
I declare that it's open now.
Jim Glennie was just 18 years old when he was part of the D-Day landings. 80 years on, he's the honoured guest at an exhibition at the Gordon Highlanders Museum in Aberdeen.
This is it. They're on the beach.
On the 6th of June 1944, Allied forces launched the largest air and sea invasion in history, landing on the beaches of northern France to liberate Europe from the Nazis. Among them, Private Jim Glennie from Turriff in Aberdeenshire.
Got off the landing, I'm just about on the land, and his body come up with the waves. But he was a Canadian, he came with his uniform. I was going to haul this body out, and this mind, he just couldn't stop. He had to carry on, and that's what I did.
Despite heavy resistance from a battle-hardened enemy, Jim and his comrades advanced inland. He's seen here having a cup of tea in between fighting. But for him, the war was almost over. He was shot, captured and taken to one of Germany's largest prisoner of war camps, Stalag 4B.
I get into that camp, and will you believe this? It was our 19th birthday.
Bad luck on your birthday.
But that was the first day in Stalag 4B. West was always hungry, that's the trouble, no food. Again, it was an experience.
In early 1945, Jim's camp was liberated by Soviet troops and he travelled home to Scotland, remaining ever humble about his role in the war.
This day, I'll never forget. I never realised this was going to happen to me. That's all this calmness and everything.
You were just a soldier.
Just a soldier, right? Aye.
Jim turns 99 in August and he puts his longevity down to luck. He continues to volunteer at the museum, sharing his story, making sure future generations remember the sacrifices of his generation. Ben Phillip, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Now, throughout this general election campaign, we're hearing from people across the country about what's important to them. Our reporter, Rachel Bell, has been in Peterhead. She joined us from there now. Rachel, what have been people saying there?
Well, we've heard a variety of views and we've experienced a variety of weather today. You know, you just need to take a walk along the harbour here to get a flavour of some of the issues which are at play here. Lining the quayside are fishing boats alongside enormous supply vessels. And just short a time ago, there was a vessel heading out to an offshore wind farm just a few miles out to sea. So fishing, energy, renewables, all industries which have a direct impact from UK government decisions. And then just up the road here is the town centre, which is all set to be rejuvenated with UK government funding, something which people here say is greatly needed. So all of these things combined make Peterhead a really interesting place to gauge opinion and just to take that political temperature.
Good morning, it's Gavin Harper on Coast Radio 101.2 FM and DAB Digital Radio.
Peterhead's new community radio station. With a tagline, the local voice across the northeast, who better to ask about what people are really thinking ahead of the election?
We've got deprivation, our town centres are looking in a bit of a sorry state. Clearly oil and gas is a big employer in the northeast, and particularly Peterhead, the fishing industry as well. And we've got to make sure that whoever is coming in after the 4th of July, that they're going to look after those industries.
Speaking while at sea, this northeast skipper voiced his concerns.
We are seeing lots of fish in the grounds, but we haven't got the quota to actually land it. We actually thought with Brexit we would get a fairer share of the quota.
It's not all about fish. Just a few miles along the road, St Fergus Gas Terminal, the site of what could be Scotland's first carbon capture and storage facility, another key issue on the campaign trails. As well as the fishing industry, this port also services the oil and gas sector and, in more recent years, renewables. Such industries have brought wealth to this corner of the country, but there are pockets of real deprivation. The cost of living and town centre improvements are high on the agenda for many here.
They really need to invest, make it better, because there's nothing attracting people to the town now.
Obviously the cost of living crisis coming to an end, but also more border control.
A whole different attitude to the centre of the town. We need to open up all these shops which have now closed.
I don't like to really see personally extremes in politics, and I think most people are just looking for balance and looking for order in society, from the top to the bottom.
With so many issues directly impacted by UK government decisions here, there's a lot of political ground to be won or lost. Rachel Bell, reporting Scotland, Peterhead.
OK, let's get the sport now with Sheila. Hello.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, hello there. Hibernian interim head coach David Gray has agreed in principle to take the job on a permanent basis, and his position could be confirmed in the next 24 hours. Gray was put in charge of the first team at Easter Road for the final 2 games of the Premiership season after the club sacked Nick Montgomery. The 36-year-old, who enjoys legendary status at Hibs after scoring a winner in the Scottish Cup final, has been placed in temporary charge 4 times, but he now looks set to be handed the reins full-time by new sporting director Malky Mackay. Sticking with football, and Scotland haven't had the best of luck with their attacking options, with first Lyndon Dykes and then Ben Doak pulling out of the squad for the Euros. But could 21-year-old Bristol City striker Tommy Conway be the answer? Scotland head coach Steve Clarke has promoted Conway to the senior squad from the under-21s, for whom he scored on Monday. And this is an example of what he can do, scoring the winner for Bristol City against West Ham in the FA Cup, one of 12 goals for Bristol City in the season just ended. To golf, and Bob McIntyre has been reflecting on the maiden PGA Tour victory, which he secured at the Canadian Open on Sunday, with his dad acting as his caddy. He's taking a break back home in Oban before playing in the US Open next week. I spoke to him earlier today and asked how excited he was to be involved in a huge summer for Scottish sport, which includes the Euros, the Olympics and, of course, the Open at Royal Troon.
I love watching all other sports, especially the football. Obviously, they've got a big few weeks coming up, and yeah, I think it's good to see other sports or sportsmen and women doing well. We're a small country, and a lot of times we're not the most positive of nations, but I think success can only breed success.
You brought a lot of positivity with your win at the weekend. How much do you think that can do for your career, especially in the States?
Yeah, it's big for me. It shows that I can win it at the high level. Yeah, it's just, you can believe it as much as you want until you do it. You'll never know. And to do it the way I done it was pretty special, and I'm just delighted to go over the line, to be honest. I never make things easy when I win golf tournaments. It's always the difficult way. And yeah, it was a special win. What's going to happen from here? I don't know what. I mean, I'm just playing golf the best that I can, week in, week out. And look, I want to be one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. It's not easy. It's difficult. I mean, you see so many good players never become world number one, and it's difficult, but all you can do is try your best and trust what you're doing, trust the team around you, and see where you end up.
Finally to rugby, and although Ollie Kebble's time at Glasgow Warriors is coming to an end, the prop is focusing on finishing his 7-year stint in Scotstoun on a high. Warriors are at home to Cape Town's Stormers on Saturday in their United Rugby Championship quarter-final. And Kebble, the Scotland international, who was born in South Africa, knows Glasgow will need to rediscover their best form to beat his former club.
They're a pretty good side, I think. Obviously know a few of them quite well. We've faced quite a difficult challenge, a good set-piece side, but also really dangerous. Their back three can score tries from anywhere, so we've got plans in place for that. I'm looking forward to playing against my old team for sure. And yeah, I think it doesn't matter who we play, we need to beat 3 good sides to win this competition, so we're not focusing too much on our position.
And that's all your sport this evening, Laura.
Good stuff. Thank you, Sheila. OK, now it's over to Stephen Jardine to find out what's happening on Debate Night at 10:30 tonight.
Debate Night is in Oban this evening, and our studio audience here will be putting their questions this evening to a panel including Scottish Labour's Michael Shanks, the Deputy Leader of the Scottish Conservatives, Megan Gallagher, Alan Smith from the SNP, former Leader of the Scottish Liberal Democrats, Willie Rennie, and entrepreneur and adventurer, Guy Grieve. That's Debate Night with me, 10:30 on the BBC Scotland channel.
And now Christopher is here with the weather. Snow?
Yes, in the mountains. The air has been cold enough for the showers here to be wintry. Not everywhere, thankfully. Thanks, Laura. Very good evening to you. We've had some rather mixed conditions today, haven't we? Avoid the showers, and it's been a case of sunshine, but the winds have been brisk and the showers frequent. All courtesy of this area of low pressure situated overhead, and the winds coming in from the west-northwest, dragging in some really cold air. You can see it moving in there on the air mass chart, and that has led to the showers, at least in the mountains, to be wintry. As we head through the afternoon, you can see the showers have been numerous with some hail and thunder on the radar. But actually, as we head into this evening, those showers should begin to ease off. There'll be a fair amount of dry weather around, some clear weather around as well. Temperatures in towns and cities overnight around 4 or 5 Celsius, but some rural parts of the northeast down close to freezing. To tomorrow, and it's a day of weather very similar to today. There'll be some sunshine, there'll be a number of showers, and like today, some of those showers perhaps heavy, with the odd rumble of thunder, some hail in the mix at times, all the while the brisk westerly winds driving them through. Avoid the showers, get a bit of strong June sunshine, shouldn't feel too bad as long as you're out of the breeze. Temperature-wise, around 14 degrees, which is a bit suppressed for early June. It should be 17 really through the central belt. Elsewhere, a little bit cooler than that, 11 or 12 degrees in the far north, through the Northern Isles, across the northwest as well, and those showers still fairly frequent on those brisk west-northwesterly winds. Tomorrow night, once again, those showers with us for a time, easing off, and then we've got a weather front moving in overnight Thursday to Friday, bringing a more persistent band of rain through the early hours. That's still with us first thing on Friday, but then it clears and another day of sunshine and showers. A little more cloud across the northwest, drier, brighter weather further south and east, at least longer gaps between the showers. To the weekend, the low pressure departs east towards Scandinavia, so quietening things down, but the wind's still from the north, so still cool, disappointingly so for the time of year, and still a fair number of showers in the forecast at times too. Laura.
Still can't get over that snow. Thank you, Christopher. And that is Reporting Scotland for now. Al McAlpine will be here with your late news around 10:30 tonight. Don't forget you can keep up to date with all your national and international news over on the 9 on the BBC Scotland channel at 9 o'clock. In the meantime, from all of us here, enjoy your evening. Good night.